is Monday. Whew. Today has been a day. I actually, got up early and showered and started to get ready and didn't finish getting ready. So my hair is up. This is not what I was gonna wear today, but it's what I'm wearing. At least I've got clothes on, right? At least I got makeup on because this is one of the Mondayest days, Mondays it has ever been. It has just been a day, but I wanted to come talk with you for a little bit and chit chat. So as you're hopping in, tell me hello, tell me where you're watching from. I'd love to know, how is your Monday? I really wish it was like a messy bun. I just pulled it up with a clip. So you see my hair's just falling down, totally just falling down. So how is everyone today? Let me introduce myself. I'm Jennifer Stroman. I am the #glitter CEO, and I love all things magical, and that includes unicorns, rainbows, glitter, you name it, I love it. And I am going to talk to you today about thinking like a CEO. So this is catered towards the network marketers and those in direct sales. But you know what? This can apply to anything that you really want to run after. And so we're going to talk about how you can be successful in your business if you think like a CEO. So as I said, as you're hopping in, tell me hello, tell me how is your Monday going, tell me where you're watching from. And if you're catching me on the replay, comment replay below, let me know that you watched, and tell me, where are you watching from? Where are you watching the replay from? So, like I said, today has been a day. It is a Monday. It is one of those days, and that's all I can say. It's Monday. It's Monday. So we got Michigan in the house. Woohoo! That's a long ways away. Is it cold? Is it cold there? I'm sure it's cold. It was like 47 here, and I was freezing. So I don't do cold. So no Michigan for me, although I hear it's very pretty there. So you've got to have the mindset of a CEO. You've got to be thinking like a CEO if you really want to be successful in this industry. There are things that you have to do to set yourself up for success. And one of the first things that you have got to do is you've got to be prepared to be a business owner. You got to be a business owner. If you think that this is fun and games, if you think that this is just, something you can do on the side that doesn't take a little work, then you're probably, somebody pitched you totally the wrong thing, because that's not what this is about. Can you do it on the side? Absolutely. Can you have fun with it? Absolutely. But you are a business owner. That's why at the end of the year, when you do your taxes, you actually have to say that you're self-employed and that this is the business that you're running. That's how you get those business tax breaks. Tomorrow is tax day. Thank you. So we're done with our taxes. How many of you are dreading the taxes? No Michigan for you either. No, it's too cold. No, Kel, you and I will sit on a beach somewhere. Forget about Michigan. So you've got to be prepared to be a business owner. You get those tax breaks because you are a business owner. Don't forget to do your taxes tomorrow. So treat this like a business. Treat this like a job. Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen? How many of you are getting tax breaks tomorrow? How many of you are a business owner and getting a tax break on your taxes? How many of you get some credits? Do you know if you buy a computer, you can write that off? Did you know that we're not going to get into all that? There's so many things that you can write off, things that you do for your team, things that you do, and that's a whole other live in itself. But you're getting tax breaks, you're getting credits because you are a business owner. So treat it like a business. Treat it like a job. How many of you treat it like a business and treat it like a job? Drop me number 1. If you've never heard this before and you're like, what? I have to do this as a business? Drop me number 2. I'd love to know how many of you may have been pitched wrong and said, oh, this is just fun and games. Just kind of come along for the ride. And yeah, you get a little extra cash, but you don't realize that you're a business owner. Drop me a 2. I hope I don't have a lot of 2s. So it's a business. It's a business. So what do you have to do? If you're thinking like a CEO, what does a CEO of a business do? Well, number 1, they have a schedule. They have a schedule. They live by a calendar. They live by being prepared. They live by a set pattern of events every day, right? I mean, how many of you have a calendar? Drop me number 3 if you live by a calendar. Drop me number 4 if you live in chaos and you're jumping from this to that to this to that and you never know where you're at. Because you could be a 3 and a 4. My daughter just said she's a 4. You want to tell me you're a 4? She hops in and goes, ha, 4. She had the stomach bug this weekend, but she's home from school. So there she's number 4. She's listening. You could be number 4. You could be in chaos like me. But I do live by a calendar. I have a set schedule. I know what I'm doing every single day. For instance, I don't check messages until 10 a.m. because in the morning I have things that I have to get done for myself. So you live by a schedule. You live by a calendar. You have to be prepared. A CEO doesn't show up at their place of business and say, all right, I don't know, what are we gonna, okay, what are we doing? No, they know what they're doing. They have a set schedule. They have time set aside for meetings. They have time set aside for an event. They have time set aside for prospecting. They have time set aside for their customers and customer service. They have time set aside for team management. They have time to do personal development. They have time for themselves. Everything's scheduled. I remember talking to a CEO of, and then they also have time for coaching and things like that. But I remember talking to a CEO of a company I was in, and he was talking about his schedule and his calendar, and everything was written in. I mean, everything to a T, to dinner, to all the extracurricular activities, to when he was sleeping. I mean, he had it down to a T. And the reason he did is because he was stretched so thin. He had so much to do. And he's like, if you don't live by a calendar, I mean, you're just never going to be successful. And at the time, I was number 4. I was the chaos. I was totally not wanting to live by a calendar because I don't want to write it down. I didn't want to try to figure that out. I mean, I knew what I had to do. I mean, like tomorrow I know what I have to do. Like, why do I need to live by calendar? And as time went on, I realized how important it is to have a set schedule, to have a calendar, to have a plan, to know what you're going to do every single day. Hey, Jordan, how are you? What's the temp there, Jordan? So you have got to be prepared. You've got to be following a calendar. You've got to follow a schedule. If you don't, you will fail. You will fail. If you live in chaos 24/7, you will fail, because chaos creates more chaos upon chaos. So then you never, oh my gosh, it's snowing there. That's crazy. So you never have the ability to get yourself off the ground, because if you're like the SpongeBob meme that I did earlier, your hands are going in every direction. You can't keep up. You can't. Have a schedule. Have a schedule. So number 2, you've got to set business hours, okay? If you're thinking like a CEO, you've got to have business hours. You have hours of operation, hours in which you work and hours in which you do not work, hours in which you work and hours in which you kind of work and then totally don't work. However you want to lay it out, you've got to have hours of operation. You've got to lay those hours out and know this is what my set schedule is, right? Like I just told you, I don't answer messages until 10 a.m. So I have things that I do personally first thing in the morning. So you've got to think like a CEO and have a set schedule, have hours of operation. How many of you set hours of operation in your business right now? Drop me number 5. If you do not, but you're thinking, man, this is a really good idea, drop me a number 6 below. I struggle with this one because I am one that has a tendency to reach for the phone and answer the question. Anybody else struggle with this, or is this just me? I want to like put the little girl with the hand up, like you struggle with this. This is so hard because we live in an instant gratification world. We live in a world where everybody wants an answer right now, right this second. Like yesterday wanted the answer, and there's no time for like BSing, right? So let's say a prospect reaches out to you and it's 10 o'clock or 11 or 12, whatever time you go to bed, and you freak out because you're like, oh, I've got to answer this right now, because what if they decide not to join me by the morning, or, oh my gosh, like they might think I died and so I can't respond. Or if a teammate reaches out to you and they're very anxious and they're like, oh my gosh, blah, 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 and they're freaking out, and you feel like you have to drop what you're doing to answer the message. How many of you deal with that? Or how about whenever you get anxiety? Has anybody ever had, tell me, I'm not the only one who's done this before. Maybe it's an important time of the month. Maybe it's an important time for a promotion, or important time for something gets thrown out there, something great. There's a reason that it happens, and suddenly you start getting anxiety because you can't even get in the shower because, oh my gosh, like your phone's going off and you're like, I gotta answer. Like you suddenly become that skittish little chihuahua that's like, because you've got all this going on, right? Like you get super excited. Hey girl, how are you? So if you don't have hours of operation, you're gonna go crazy. You're gonna go crazy. If you're not set in a schedule, you're gonna go crazy. I have had a hard time with the dogs in here, with the scheduling, because you do get pulled from different direction. And this is the thing, you can have a schedule, but you're always gonna be in number 4. That chaos is always gonna happen because things are gonna pull you away. But if you have a schedule, you can kind of try to stay on track, right? So the second one was hours of operation. This is so important. If you're thinking like a CEO, you've got to have a set schedule. You've got to take time for you. You've got to take time for your customers. You've got to take time for your prospects. You've got to take time for your team. You've got to take time to answer the questions. You've got to take time to not answer the questions, right? Because you have other things that you need to do. It's okay to go take a shower, ladies. It's okay. I give you permission to go to the restroom in peace, okay? So, how many of you do that where you feel like, oh my gosh, like I've got to, like you take your phone to the bathroom? Like how many, it happens. So the next thing is you've got to set expectations from the beginning. Whew. How many of you have a hard time with telling your team your expectations ahead of time? Drop me number 7. Drop me number 7. If you set expectations and you are awesome at them, drop me number 8. What do I mean by expectations? Do you tell them what to expect from you? That maybe you have 100 people under you. Maybe you have 10 people under you. Maybe you have 50 people, whatever the number is. Maybe you don't answer your messages until 10 a.m. or don't even look at them. Maybe you go to bed at a certain time or put the phone on silent and put it aside at a certain time at night, and they need to expect that you will not respond to them. Does anybody set those expectations? If you do not set those expectations, why? You are a business owner. Are you thinking like a CEO? Because a CEO does not take calls in the middle of dinner. A CEO does not take away from their family unless it is crunch time. Maybe they're under a major promotion, or maybe they're under a major event is going on and then they have to, right? So it's okay every once in a while, but we're talking about the normal everyday. Are you thinking like a CEO? Did you set the expectation? Did you let them know that you are going to not be answering that voice message or whatever until you are ready? Did you set those expectations? Thinking like a CEO also means that you are going to empower your team. Empower your team. You are not, and I repeat, you are not enabling them. How many of you have watched, what's that show that's on, Intervention? How many of you watch Intervention? You can totally, like, I know there's a needle. You could drop a needle below. We know what we're talking about. Drop me a snowflake below. Like Intervention, when they are on drugs, right? And they go and they do this intervention. And one of the things that they always find out is that one person is an enabler. How many of you see that? Like there's always an enabler, right? Same thing with gambling, same thing with any kind of addiction. There's always somebody that enables that person, right? We do not want to be the enabler. We do not want to be that person that is giving them a reason to be in that position, okay? So if you are thinking like a CEO, they are not enabling anybody, not in that sense, okay? They are empowering people. I actually had a girl, Kristen, girl, you know, you were there. I actually had a girl at my leadership retreat call me the B word, because she said at first, whenever she came to me and asked me for questions and I would direct her where to find the answer, she was like, come on, B, she called me the B word, you know, could you just like tell me? Like, she was getting angry that I wasn't just giving her the answer. And then she realized what I was doing, and she realized that it was empowering her to find the answer herself. I was empowering her to realize that she had what it took to find it, to know what it is, to direct her prospects or her new teammates to find the answer. I didn't spoon feed it to her. I didn't enable her. I didn't give her the needle, right? So do you enable your team? Drop me number 9 if you have a tendency to enable your team. You spoon feed all the answers. You spoon feed everything. If they come to you and ask you, hey, where do I find this document? You send them over the document, or you tag them in the post. Or are you an empowerer? Do you empower them? If you empower them, drop me a number 10 and throw me some hands up, because amen, I am so glad that you do that. You do not give them the answer, okay? You send them to the place that they can find the answer. For instance, if somebody comes to you and asks, hey, did you see, the company did whatever, right? And they're like, where do you find the information on that? Or how do you find the information on that? Or they just say, hey, what is the information? You need to direct them to the website, your group, whatever post, however you manage your team, and send them to the area in which they can find the information. Think like a CEO, send them off on their way. Do not spoon feed their answers. Think about any kind of movie that you watch with a CEO or a corporate person, and they're walking through the office and they're checking things off and they're going real quick and they're doing their thing and they're on their way to the next meeting, right? So they're walking through the hall and they're on their way to the next meeting, and this person comes up to them and is asking them questions. What do? They usually dismiss them, first of all. And second of all, they're like, you can go find it here. You can go here. Or how about you talk to your manager, which is where your upline and then your family tree comes into place, because you don't go directly to the CEO. You go up the chain of command, right? So same thing. You've got to make sure that whenever you are thinking like a CEO, that you're also putting into place, hey, there's a chain of command here. You need to go to your person and then their person and on your way up. Don't go directly to the top. But at the same time, are you empowering them? Are you teaching them, hey, if you go down the hall and to the left in that room, you will find whatever, okay? Instead of saying, you know what? I'll be late to my meeting. I'll be 15 minutes late because I'm going to walk you over there and show you. No, there's no reason for you to go search for the stuff and send it whenever they can find it, okay? Anyways, getting a little feisty. If you are not empowering your team, you need to start doing it now. Don't enable them. Don't give them the needle. You need to enable them. You need to empower them. Don't enable them. And the last thing that you need to be doing, if you're thinking like a CEO, if you're functioning like a CEO, because this is a freaking business, people, it's a business. You're setting your hours, you have your schedule, you need to be working a certain amount of hours each day, you need to have hours of operation, you need to set expectations, you need to empower your team. Am I saying that you're not working? No, I'm saying that you're working smarter, not harder. You're not staying in chaos all day. If you are thinking like a CEO, you will be successful. And the last thing that you will do to be successful is to minimize the busy work. Minimize the busy work. What is busy work? You're cleaning up your office. You're chit-chatting on the phone. You get in your back office just to refresh your numbers, just to see, have they changed since last hour? Did they change in the last 30 minutes? Let me just check and see if so-and-so just hit another cell. Oh, I need to check this. Let me pick up the phone and call so-and-so. Let me go down. Like just a few minutes ago, I went in the kitchen and I was doing something real quick, and Nicole's like, hey, can we go do this? I was like, no, I've got to finish working. Like I have my things done. And she's like, oh, but you can take a break. No, you have things to do. Cut out the busy work. Cut out the little things in your day that are just keeping you busy, that are not making you work. How many of you do busy work every day and you get a little overwhelmed with it? Drop me a, like, do they have a hair pulling out one? We need a hair pulling out emoji. I don't know. I don't care what you drop me an emoji. Or just tell me, yes, like you want to pull your hair out because you've got so much busy work. Maybe every time you turn around, your kids just made a huge mess and you got to keep cleaning it up and you got to keep cleaning it up. You know what? Let the mess be the mess. Keep your work going. Do your thing. Think like a CEO. The mess can wait. Okay? The mess can be after hours, right? Don't worry about it. And if you do not have busy work and you are all about making sure that you got your stuff done in your schedule, then drop me a happy face below. I want to know that your life is peachy keen and that you have everything set in schedule and that you don't have busy work that gets in the way. I have busy work all the time. I've got papers all over my desk that I need to go through and figure out what do I need to throw away, because I start to make a note on one piece of paper and I throw the paper, and I make another note and I throw the paper, because I don't have time to deal with the paper. I have time to deal with my team, and I have time to deal with my business. So don't worry about the busy work. It will always be there for you, okay? Worry about what is most important, which is your business. Stick to a schedule. Okay, keep your hours of operation. Make sure that you're empowering your team. Make sure you're setting expectations. And be sure, no matter what you do, that you are thinking like a CEO, because honey, you are a CEO. If this helped you and if this was beneficial to you in any way, please hit the share button. Go ahead and tag your friends below. And I hope that I see you tomorrow, because I'm going to give you confessions of the glitter CEO all this week. All about how I am the glitter CEO. All right, guys, have a good day. Bye.